Good day, virtual learners. I'm glad to see you. I hope everyone is safe and healthy and in the comforts of your home. Rest assured that our city government, led by our city mayor Rex Gatchalian and the Division of Valenzuela, are doing their best to be of service to everyone, to provide everything that we need in these trying times. Amidst the pandemic crisis that presently confronts us, we are going to explore new, fun, and exciting experiences in the world of online learning. Because DepEd Valenzuela believes that, in any situation, education must continue. For our session today, we are going to focus on this most essential learning competency. Use information from news reports, speeches, informative talks, panel discussions, etc., in everyday conversations and exchanges. In line with that, our specific learning objectives are the following. Switch from one listening strategy to another to extract meaning from the listening text. And listen to simplify, reorganize, synthesize, and evaluate information to expand, review, or update knowledge. We will be using the strategic, localized, and interactive intervention material prepared by Sir Rainier Concepcion of Gente de Leon National High School. The new normal, getting new information. So basically, we will be talking about the different sources of information and the means or ways to get them. By the way, learners, you can ask questions or clarification, if you have any, that are related to our lesson. Just take note of them, and I would be glad to address your queries later after the discussion in the question and answer part. But for the meantime, I'd like to know where are my learners coming from. So please key in the word present and the name of your school for the attendance and for us to monitor the number of active learners I have now online. Don't forget to be polite, avoid unnecessary comments, and remember to think before you click. So sit back, relax, listen and watch attentively, and prepare a notebook and a pen to take note of important information that you will get from our discussion. Are you ready? That's great. Let's begin by thinking about this question. What do you usually do when you want to find information about a certain topic? Some of you would instinctively get their smartphones or sit in front of their laptop and immediately browse the web, right? Well, there's nothing wrong with that because in our time today, especially with what's going on around us, the internet is the most convenient and accessible way to harvest information. All we have to remember is that we need to be extra careful in using this platform for us to avoid misinformation. You have to learn how to filter the information and assess their validity by comparing them with other sources. If you agree with what I said, you can key in the heart emoji in the comment box that you see in your screen. Where else can we get information from? I am certain that most of you are thinking about watching TV or listening to the radio. That's right. These electronic devices are good sources of information, whether current events, interesting topics, or issues. In relation with these electronic devices, we can also get information from newspapers. This print media can provide a viable information, especially if you're looking for the latest happenings locally or internationally. Now, if you're looking for word definitions, you can use a dictionary to get them. A dictionary is a reference book where words are arranged alphabetically and their definitions are stated there. Is there any more platform where we can get information from? Sure there is. These are encyclopedias. They can provide a wide range of information about anything under the sun. Well, back in our days, these reference books are our old world internet. Sadly, most of the students today are not exposed to using these reference materials, probably because of their accessibility. Well, if we don't have them at home, I believe our school libraries have them. So after this pandemic and everything is in proper order, let's check them out and explore the wonders of the encyclopedia. You might also be thinking about your textbooks and your learning pockets. Let us not forget them. They are your first-hand source of information. All you have to do is to open and read them. So why are we talking about these sources of information? Because aside from familiarizing ourselves on how to use and acquire information on these platforms, we will also be thinking about information literacy. Big words, right? Let's first define the word information. It is the knowledge obtained from investigation, study, or instruction. In other words, these are facts learned or acquired from someone or something. On the other hand, when we say literacy, it's the ability to read, write, speak, and listen in a way that lets us communicate effectively and make sense of the world. So mainly, literacy is the ability to identify, understand, interpret, create, communicate, and compute using printed and written materials associated with varying contexts. And why is it important to you as a student? Students need literacy in order to engage with the written word in everyday life, like reading signages for you to become street smart, or even understanding simple instruction to accomplish a particular task. Now, let's put them together. Information literacy. To be information literate, a person must be able to recognize when information is needed and have the ability to locate, evaluate, and use effectively the needed information. So if you want to become an information literate individual, you must be able to determine when is the time for you to update yourself with new information. You should learn how to effectively search for these information using different sources, assess their importance, and be able to convey it in your daily lives. If you understood the meaning of information literacy, use the smile and the heart emoji. Then why information literacy? The concept of information literacy has progressed beyond how to find books in the library. It's deeper than that. Many aspects of information literacy are essential components of education. Like what I said, the macro skills such as reading, writing, speaking, listening, and viewing are essential for this process to occur. For citizens to function successfully in a rapidly changing global community, they will need to understand how to find and use information effectively. An information literate individual must be able to search for the information that he needs and use what he has learned in the most practical way. Information literacy not only lies within disciplines, but also within the process of lifelong learning. Now that we're done discussing what information literacy is, let's talk about the key information skills that we need to keep in mind and consider if we want to become information literate individuals. Key information skill number 1, knowing when you need to know something. An information literate individual should be able to determine the right time he needs to acquire new information to update himself. It's a continuous process because one cannot remain stagnant. You have to absorb new learnings like a sponge does. Key information skill number 2. Knowing the different ways to find this piece of information. For example, will you find the answer in a book or in a computer? Like what I mentioned at the beginning, we have a lot of sources where we can extract information from. All we have to do is to be aware of them. Getting information that you need also depends on the type of platform you use, be it your textbook, dictionary, newspaper, or the internet. Key information skill number 3. Knowing which is the most efficient way to find what you want. Aside from familiarizing yourself with the different sources of information, you must also learn the techniques on how to efficiently harvest what you need from these platforms. You can move away from using the internet every once in a while because aside from the web, there are other sources of information which is readily available around you. Key information skill number 4. Being able to locate, access the information you need, whether it is on an electronic database, in a journal, or on the internet. An information literate individual should know the proper utilization of the sources of information. Say in our situation today, the new normal, people solely depend on the internet because of its accessibility. But again, you must learn how to use it in a way that it would benefit you and won't do any harm, such as misinformation. Using the web for gathering information entails the proper and responsible way of harvesting what you need from this source, like typing the correct keywords in your browser for you to be directed in the website, which will provide the exact information you are looking for. Key information skill number 5. Being able to compare and evaluate the information obtained from different sources. An individual must be able to assess the importance of the information that he has gathered. There are instances that these platforms provide almost the same information. It's your task now to weigh which among these information is to be kept or to be set aside to also avoid redundancy or repetition. Key information skill number 6. Being able to organize, apply, and communicate the information to others, such as citing references in an essay or creating a bibliography. This skill urges an individual to process the information he has gathered and use it in the most practical way, like citing references in an essay. We usually quote prominent people in our essays, and it is but proper to acknowledge them to make our work more credible and to educate other people too. Also, preparing a bibliography for a research work is a must. A bibliography is the list of reference you used in accomplishing your task or research work, and this will not simply serve as an appendix, but a reference to other researchers as well. Finally, the last key information skill you must keep in mind to become information literate. Key information skill number 7. The ability to learn, to take the new information and relate it to what you already know. This would probably be the most practical skill that an individual can apply in his daily life. To be able to find the connection of the newly acquired information to what you already know. Being able to do this will help you become critical thinkers and understand the logical connections of ideas. Are you still there? If you liked what I said, key in the heart emoji. Now that we're done familiarizing ourselves with the key information skills on how to become information literate, it's our time now to refresh what we know about the different sources of information. Let's start with news. News is a packaged information on current events. This is information about a recently changed situation or a recent event that can be sourced out through print medias and other electronic devices. Next is a speech. A speech is a formal address or discourse delivered in front of an audience. It may be informative or persuasive. Persuasive speaking is the type of speaking that most people engage in the most. This type of speech can involve everything from arguing about politics to talking about what to eat for dinner. While informative speaking generally centers on talking about people, events, processes, places, or things, like the State of the Nation address of our president. This is where he reports on the status of the country, unveils the government's agenda for the coming year, and proposes to Congress certain legislative measures. We can also get information from a panel discussion. A panel discussion involves a group of people gathered to discuss a topic in front of an audience, typically at scientific, business or academic references or conferences, fan conventions, and on television shows. It is a live or virtual discussion about a specific topic amongst a selected group of panelists who share different or opposing perspectives in front of a large audience. We can actually get a lot of learnings from watching and listening to the viewpoints of the panelists. Well, aside from these platforms, where else can we get information from? Do you have something in mind? Type it in the comment box below. Apparently, books cover virtually any topic, fact, or fiction. Like what I said, these materials, printed or electronic books, can definitely provide a variety of information. All we have to do is to read them. Oh, a journal. Journals. These are a collection of articles usually written by scholars in an academic or professional field. A journal is a scholarly publication containing articles written by researchers, professors, and other experts. Journals focus on a specific discipline or a field of study. Unlike newspapers and magazines, journals are intended for an academic or technical audience, not general readers. Next are encyclopedias. These are collections of short, factual entries, often written by different contributors who are knowledgeable about the topic. General encyclopedias provide concise overviews on a wide variety of topics. Subject encyclopedias contain in-depth entries focusing on one field of study like medicine, law, pop culture, history, and wildlife. But because of the internet, encyclopedias are now published in electronic format and are much easier to use than printed versions, as they are much easier to search. And some of these electronic encyclopedias are free for you to use, like the Encyclopedia Britannica. You need not go to a library or spend much to purchase them. A database. A database can also help us gather information needed to perform or accomplish our task. This contains citations of articles in a magazine, journals, and newspapers. They may also contain citations to podcasts, blogs, videos, and other media types. It is a system for storing and taking care of data, any kind of information. A database engine can sort, change, or serve the information on the database. The information itself can be stored in many different ways. Before digital computers, card files, printed books, and other methods were used. Another source of information that we can explore and be entertained in reading it is a magazine. It is a collection of articles and images about diverse topics of popular interest and current events. This is a publication with a paper cover, which is regularly issued, usually every week or every month, and which contains articles, stories, photographs, and advertisements. Well, two of my most favorite magazines are the National Geographic and the Reader's Digest. Because aside from the interesting contents, you will also be entertained with the pictures in them, especially for visual learners like you. In connection to magazines, we also have newspapers. A newspaper is a collection of articles about current events, usually published daily. In the Philippines alone, we have broadsheets and tabloids. Broadsheets are the big ones like Manila Bulletin, Philippine Star, Philippine Daily Inquirer. They are standard or full-size newspapers that takes a serious look at major news stories. On the other hand, tabloids are much shorter than standard newspaper, which focuses on less serious content, especially celebrities, sports, and sensationalist crime stories. What other platforms can we use to locate information? Well, a catalog is an organized and searchable collection of records of every item in the library. Library catalogs are not regarded as information resources, though, in the sense that they do not give the end user the answer required, unless the user simply wants to know, for example, who published a particular title. But they are useful information retrieval tools. Many library catalogs are in electronic format and can be made available on the internet. Knowing how to use a catalog will save you a lot of time. And rounding up the bunch, the internet, our favorite. The web allows you to access most type of information in the internet through a browser, whether Google Chrome, Mozilla Firefox, or the Microsoft Edge. One of the main features of the web is the ability to quickly link to other related information. But again, I would like to emphasize that the internet should be used responsibly to avoid misinformation. A person must know how to type the correct keywords in your browser for you to be directed to the exact website. You must also learn how to filter and weigh the information you are harvesting from this platform. Another tip that I can give you is to take note of the complete link of the website you have visited or used and indicate it at the bottom part of your paper as your source. In this way, you'll be able to acknowledge the source and people will be able to validate the reliability of the content. Is that clear? Awesome. Now that we have oriented and refreshed ourselves with the different platforms to be used in getting information, the question now is, how can these sources of information help us become information literate? These sources of information help us learn how to learn, to achieve literacy, which makes us better equipped to do so in all situations. Remember that literacy plays a vital role in transforming you into socially engaged citizens. And these sources of information will enable you to keep up with current events, communicate effectively, and understand the issues that are shaping our world. To sum up everything that we have discussed today, let me share with you the 5 components that constitute information literacy. Identify. An information literate individual should know what to acquire and when to update himself with new learnings. Find. You must be able to efficiently locate the information that you need using the different sources. Evaluate. Assessing the validity of the information and its importance is a must to become information literate. Apply. You should be able to use the information in the most practical way and be able to convey it with other people. And lastly, acknowledge. Citing your sources is very important. It does not only make your work credible, but it would also spare you from plagiarism, which is the act of stealing someone else's work. So don't forget to indicate your sources. For your queries and clarifications, just simply type your question, if there is any, on the comment section, and I will try my best to address them. You have a minute to send us your questions, and our teacher moderator will be gathering them. I will be right back after 60 seconds. And your time is up. I will now be reading the questions you have posted in the comment section. Thank you to our teacher moderator for gathering them. The questions which will not be addressed today will be answered and discussed by your subject teacher tomorrow in your follow-up discussion. Let's have the first question from Genti de Leon National High School. Does social media promote literacy? Social media is a great way to promote and reinforce learning or literacy if utilized with caution and guidance, because it engages learners, encourages learning communities and collaboration, and uses multiple modes of learning, which is important in enhancing students' understanding. Key in the heart emoji if you agree. Next question is from Citero Francisco Memorial National High. How can we know if the information we have gathered from the internet is fake? This is a good one. Well, identifying a factual information from a fake or a hoax can be made possible if you know how to access information from other sources aside from the internet. In that way, you will be able to compare the validity of the content of the gathered information, especially when you feel a little doubtful about it. Another inquiry is from Mapulang Lupa National High. Do I need to give importance with the key information skills to become information literate? I personally believe that students like you should give importance with the key information skills presented because these skills will help you weigh and validate the gathered information and consume these information in the most efficient way. Next question is from a learner of Polo National High. Is it enough to just learn how to use the internet to become information literate? Information literacy does not only depend on the ability to use the internet, because aside from the web, there are other sources like the television, print media, books, and the like that an individual can utilize to acquire information and to develop his literacy. Our learners have posted thought-provoking questions today. Again, those which have not been addressed yet will be discussed thoroughly by your English teacher in your follow-up discussion. Be ready to listen and read some articles along the way. Read the instructions carefully. Ask the help of your parent or guardian when necessary. Enjoy the process of learning. Your English teacher will be checking on your progress in your follow-up discussion via Google Meet or Microsoft Teams. They will be there ready to elaborate and explain further if you missed something, and they will help you process your outputs in each activity of your SLM. Once again, I am Sir Noelito Reyes, your live streaming teacher. Thank you for watching. Tune in again in our next Valenzuela Live. Always remember, in any situation, education must continue. Stay home, stay safe. God bless everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.